Keeping up with our motto, let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure. Here we are with a remote teaching and learning process to bridge the gap. Happy learning, students.
A very warm welcome to the students of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College. Standard 4th, subject English text, topic lesson number 16, no formalities please. Children, in our primary section, we learn two types of letters, formal letter and informal letter. A formal letter is usually written for official reasons and it is written in a formal language with a specific layout. A letter is said to be informal when it is written in a friendly manner to someone you are familiar with. Today in this lesson, we shall learn how the English teacher Mrs. Desai of class 4th teaches her class to write a formal letter. Let's read and understand the lesson. No formalities, please. The students of class 4 greeted their teacher, Mrs. Desai, before they sat down. It was time for their English lesson. Shall we bring out our Balbharti textbook, teacher? Asked Shruti. In this paragraph, we learn that Class 4 students have their English period and their English teacher, Mrs. Desai, enters the class. The students greet their teacher. It was time for their English lesson. A girl named Shruti asked the teacher, should they remove their Balbharti textbook? Now let's see what happened. Not now, said the teacher. We are going to learn letter writing today. Some special types of letters. Come here, Javed and Nisha. Please distribute these notebooks. In this paragraph, the teacher gives a reply to the question asked by Shruti, saying, not now, and she tells the students that they are going to learn letter writing today, some special types of letters. She calls out two students, Javed and Nisha, and requests them to distribute the notebooks. Next para. And while they give out the books, continued Mrs. Desai, let me give you some good news. And while they gave out the books, Mrs. Desai continued her conversation with the class, and she was about to give some good news to the students. Let's read the next paragraph. The students were all ears now. Their teacher announced with a smile, new arrivals in the library and plenty of them. Storybooks of every kind, informative books with lovely pictures, books of puzzles, jokes, all have been displayed in the library, so you will know which ones to ask for the next time you are in the library. The students were all ears, means listening quietly and eagerly, waiting to hear what the good news was. And their teacher, Mrs. Desai, announced with a smile about the new arrivals in the library. New arrivals means there are new books which have come and plenty of them have been added in the school library. Storybooks, informative books with lovely pictures. Informative means which provide lot of information about our great leaders, social reformers, etc. Books of puzzles, jokes, all have been displayed in the library. Displayed means arranged in such a manner where people can see them, so that next time when children go to the library, they will know which book to ask for. Next paragraph. Oh, lovely! I can hardly wait. Hardly wait means cannot wait for long time, were some of the eager responses. Responses means replies or answers to this piece of news. All were excited except one. In this paragraph, when Mrs. Desai informs the class about the new arrivals in the library, all the students were excited except a boy named Felix. Let's read the next paragraph. What's the use? Complained Felix. We have only one library period in a week, and hardly for half an hour too. Just when the story gets interesting, we have to leave the book and go back to class. In this paragraph, Felix complains that what is the use of these new arrivals in the library, because they get only half an hour of the library period, that too per week, while reading a storybook. As the story gets interesting, they have to leave the book and go back to class. So they are not able to complete reading the book. The time is too less. Next paragraph. Now Varsha joined in to say, for 2 weeks I have been waiting to know what happened to the Pied Piper of Hamelin. There was a holiday last Thursday and we missed the library period. In this paragraph, a girl named Varsha from the same class joined Felix and said that she has been waiting from last 2 weeks to know what happened to the Pied Piper of Hamelin, as last Thursday was a holiday and she missed her library period. Next paragraph. Mrs. Desai realized that what her students said was perfectly true. She decided to request the principal to allow a home issue facility for class 4th. After all, they were big enough to look after the books they took home. Listening to all the problems the students were facing, she realized, she understood that what her students were saying was perfectly right. So she decided to request the principal to allow the home issue facility for class 4. Home issue means to allow the students to take the book home, read the book, and then return it back, as she felt the children of class 4 are quite big to take care of the books they take home. Next paragraph. Hey, wait, thought Mrs. Desai. There's a better way to do it. Why not let the students themselves write a letter of request to the principal? After all, that was what she had planned to teach that day, how to write polite formal letters. In this paragraph, while thinking about requesting the principal to provide home issue facility of books, an idea came to Mrs. Desai's mind. Why not let the students themselves write a letter of request to the principal, as Mrs. Desai had planned to teach the students how to write a polite formal letter. Formal means an official letter. Let's read the next paragraph. What an opportunity, a good subject for a formal letter, and of course, a real situation would make the learning more effective and interesting. In this paragraph, Mrs. Desai thought it was a good opportunity, the right time, with a good subject and a perfect situation to write a formal letter where the children would learn with interest and learning would be more effective. Next para. When Mrs. Desai suggested this to her class, they were very excited. Without losing much time, Mrs. Desai began to teach her class how to write a formal letter. When Mrs. Desai told the children that she is going to teach them how to write a polite formal letter using the current situation as the subject, that is, writing a letter requesting the principal to provide home issue facility of library books, the children were very excited to learn how to write a formal letter. So, without wasting time, Mrs. Desai started teaching the class how to write a formal letter. Next paragraph. The sender's address and the date should be written in the upper right corner of the page she taught. The first thing Mrs. Desai taught was to write the sender's address and date in the upper right corner of the page. The next step is to write the name or post of the receiver near the left margin. Then write his or her address below that. After teaching them to write the sender's address and date in the upper right corner, the next step she taught them was to write the receiver's name and post near the left margin and to write the receiver's address below that. And after that, you must write the subject of the letter in short below the receiver's address, she further instructed. After teaching them to write the sender's address in the upper right corner and the receiver's name, post and address in the corner near the left margin, she instructed them to write the subject of the letter below the receiver's address. Now, subject of a letter conveys the purpose of writing a letter. It should be short and relevant to the message you want to convey to the reader. That's something new, remarked Sharon. We do not mention a subject in our friendly letters, do we? Now here a girl named Sharon comments, that's something new. And she raises a question. Do we mention the subject in our friendly letter? Of course not, said Mrs. Desai. Mrs. Desai answered to the question asked by Sharon, saying, of course not. What do we do next, teacher? Shruti wanted to know. As the children were excited, Shruti asked the teacher what is the next step they have to follow. Now, let's read the next paragraph. You address the receiver writing, Dear Sir or Dear Madam. Remember, the rest of the letter also should be written in polite language. Right to the point, Mrs. Desai explained. Now the teacher explains the salutation part of the letter. If we are addressing a male person, we write Dear Sir. And if we address a female, we write Dear Madam. Now after the salutation comes the rest of the letter, which is called the body of the letter. Mrs. Desai explains that we must use polite language and it should be written to the point. To the point means without giving extra information, as it is a formal letter. And should we end it with yours lovingly? Asked Renu. Here, Renu asks Mrs. Desai that should they end the letter with yours lovingly? Oh no, said teacher. You can write that to your friends or parents or even to me. But when you are writing as a student to the principal, you may write yours faithfully or sincerely. Do not forget to thank the receiver appropriately before you close the letter. Come on, now let's draft this letter together. Mrs. Desai replied, Oh no. Then she explained the students, in a formal letter we write yours faithfully or sincerely. We do not write yours lovingly. Yours lovingly is written in an informal letter. The letter written to your friends or family members. And now she asks the students to draft the letter. Draft means to write the first rough plan of the letter. After quite a few errors, cancellations and changes, here's the letter class 4 wrote to their principal. It was written very neatly. They all came together to draft a letter, and after quite a few errors, cancellations and changes, they were successful in writing the letter, and it was written very neatly as instructed by their teacher. Let's look at the letter they have written as per the teacher's instruction. The sender's address is written in the right hand corner with date, and the receiver's name, post and address is written in the left margin, followed by the subject. Since their principal is a female, in the salutation part they have addressed her as Dear Madam. Later, the body part of the letter is also short as instructed by their teacher. Let's read what they have written. We, the students of class 4, have a request. Our English teacher, Mrs. Desai, has informed us about many new books that have arrived in our school library. We are eager to read them. However, it is not possible for us to finish reading a book during the library period, which is only once a week. May we have your kind permission, madam, to take the books for home reading? We promise that we shall take utmost care of the books and return them on time. At the end, they have appropriately signed off the letter by writing yours faithfully, followed with all the students of class 4. We will be meeting soon in the next video, so keep learning something new every day. Thank you.